You didn't decide to do it. It wasn't a checklist you made on a Tuesday morning. It wasn't a tantrum. It was a biological rejection. One day, you looked at the phone vibrating in your hand, a name you've known for 10 years flashing on the screen, and you felt a wave of physical nausea. You didn't answer. You didn't text back. You didn't make an excuse. You just placed the phone face down and stared at the wall. And in that silence, you realized something terrifying. You don't hate them. You don't love them. You are completely, utterly finished with them. This isn't depression. This isn't isolating in the way the therapists tell you is dangerous. This is something ancient. This is your nervous system initiating a quarantine. The world calls it cutting people off. They call it cold. They call it ruthless. They diagnose you as avoidant or antisocial. They are wrong. What you are experiencing is the Phoenix Protocol. It is the subconscious realization that the version of you that these people know is dead. And you cannot resurrect yourself while the witnesses to your old life are still watching. You are here because you are in the void. You have burned the bridges, but you haven't built the new land yet. You are wondering if you made a mistake. You are wondering if you are broken. I am here to tell you that you are not broken. You are molting. And the reason you had to cut everyone off is not because they are bad people. It is because they are anchors to a sunken ship that you are finally trying to swim away from. By the end of this video, you will understand why isolation was the only move left on the chessboard. You will understand why this darkness is actually the first light you've seen in years. But be warned, we are going to dissect your relationships with a scalpel. We are going to look at the ugly truth of why you kept them around for so long and why their love was actually a cage. Why is it impossible to change when you are surrounded by your history? Think about the last time you tried to upgrade your life. You started a business, or went to the gym, or stopped drinking, or changed your style. You walked into a room of your friends or family. What happened? Did they celebrate the new you? Or did they make a joke? Oh, look who's a fitness guru now. Oh, you're too good for us now? Remember when you used to? They bring up the past. They anchor you to the version of yourself that you are trying to kill. This is the witness syndrome. People do not bond with you. They bond with the version of you that serves their reality. If you were the funny fat friend, your weight loss feels like a betrayal to them. If you were the reliable listener who absorbed all their trauma, your boundaries feel like an attack. You cut everyone off because you realized a brutal truth. You cannot be a king in a room full of people who knew you as a pawn. As long as they are watching, you will subconsciously perform the old script. You will shrink back into the role they wrote for you. The mess, the fixer, the scapegoat, the quiet one. Your brain knows this. That is why you feel exhausted around them. It is the exhaustion of performance. You are an actor who has outgrown the role, but the audience won't let you leave the stage. So you have to burn down the theater. Let's go darker. Look at the people you just removed from your life, the ones you blocked, the ones you ghosted. Ask yourself the forbidden question: what did they actually love? Did they love your soul, your thoughts, your presence, or did they love your function? Most relationships are not unions of spirits. They are transactions of utility. You were the charger they plugged into when their battery was low. You were the emotional trash can they vomited their bad day into so they could feel lighter. You were the ego boost they stood next to so they could feel superior. You cut them off because the transaction stopped making sense. You looked at the ledger of your life and saw red ink everywhere. You were pouring gold into a bottomless pit and getting copper pennies in return. And the exact moment, you stopped providing that utility, what happened? Did they ask, "Are you okay? You seem distant. How can I support you?" No. They got angry. They got offended. They asked, "Why are you acting like this?" If you kick a vending machine because it didn't give you a soda, you don't love the machine. You love the soda. When the machine stops working, you abandon it. You realized you were a vending machine with a human face, and you decided to unplug yourself. This is why the guilt eats at you. You have been conditioned to believe that being useful is the same as being loved. It is not. Being useful is being a servant. Being loved is being seen. When you cut them off, you didn't lose friends. You lost customers. And that is why the silence feels so heavy. Because for the first time in your life, you are not working. You are just existing. And you don't know how to do that yet. We like to think we make decisions with our logic. We don't. We make decisions with our viscera, with our gut, with the primal reptile part of our brain that smells danger before our eyes see it. For years, your body was screaming at you. Think back. The headache you got every time you visited your parents. The heavy fatigue that hit you right before meeting that specific friend group. The tightness in your chest when your phone buzzed. That wasn't stress. That was your immune system. Your body recognizes pathogens long before your conscious mind does. Your body knew that these environments were toxic. It knew that these people were draining your cortisol, spiking your adrenaline, and keeping you in a state of fight or flight. But you were nice. You were loyal. You were socialized. So you took an Advil, you drank a coffee, you put on the mask, and you overrode your biology. Until you couldn't. The cutoff happens when the biological cost becomes too high to pay. Your nervous system effectively slammed the emergency brake. It said, if we go back into that environment, we will die. This is why you feel that strange, numb relief. It's the feeling of a diver finally breaking the surface of the water after holding their breath for 3 minutes. Your lungs are burning, you are disoriented, you are alone in the middle of the ocean, but you are breathing. Do not mistake this safety for loneliness. The safety feels empty because it is free of the constant noise of defense. You are so used to being at war that peace feels like boredom. Now you are sitting in the wreckage. No texts, no plans, no drama, just you. This is the part where most people fold. They panic. They look at the empty space and they think, I am unpopular. I am a loser. I am going to die alone. So they reach back out. They send the, hey, sorry I've been MIA text. They reopen the door to the vampire because the bite hurts less than the silence. Do not do this. You have entered the vacuum. In physics, a vacuum is not empty. It is a space of potential. Nature abhors a vacuum, which means something will fill it. But here is the Machiavellian law of the universe. You cannot attract the people who belong in your future while your hands are full of the people from your past. You need the void. You need the emptiness. The silence you are hearing is not the sound of abandonment. It is the sound of space being cleared. You are renovating the house of your life. You have torn down the rotting walls, ripped up the carpet, and thrown out the furniture. Of course it looks desolate. It's a construction site. If you invite the old people back in now, they will bring their mud onto your new floor. They will sit in the corners you are trying to paint. They will clutter the space you need for your expansion. You must sit in this uncomfortable, terrifying silence and refuse to fill it with cheap noise. You must learn to be alone without being lonely, because only in this silence can you hear the voice you have been drowning out for decades, your own. Why did it take you so long? Why did you waste 5, 10, 20 years on people who never saw you? The sunk cost fallacy. In economics, this is when you keep investing in a losing stock because you've already spent so much money on it. You think, I can't walk away now, I've put in 10 years. So you spend another 10 years, and now you've lost 20. We do this with people, but we've been friends since high school. But she's my sister. But we went through so much together. History is not a reason to stay. History is just data. And if the data shows a trend of disrespect, neglect, and stagnation, then the history is a warning, not a bond. You finally cut everyone off because you realized that your time is not a renewable resource. You looked at the math. You realized that spending 1 more hour explaining yourself to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you is an hour you steal from your destiny. It is a ruthless calculation. It feels cold, but it is the heat of self-preservation. You decided to stop paying the mortgage on a house that was collapsing on top of you. You walked away from the investment. You took the loss. And taking the loss is the bravest thing a human being can do. It is admitting, I was wrong about you. I was wrong about us. And I am willing to start from zero rather than pretend this is a one. There is a final, uglier reason why you cut them off. And this is the one you don't want to admit. They were mirrors, reflecting a version of you that you detest. When you look at your old friends, the ones who drink every weekend, the ones who complain about the same problems for a decade, the ones who settle for mediocrity, you don't just see them. You see the part of you that accepted them. You see your own lack of standards. You see your own fear of being alone. You see your own complicity in wasting your life. Cutting them off is an act of smashing the mirror. You can't stand to look at them because they remind you of how low you set the bar for your own existence. You are angry at them, yes, but you are furious with yourself. Furious that you let it go on this long. Furious that you gave discounts on your worth. This anger is good. This anger is fuel. But you must understand, they are not the enemy. They are just people living their lives at the level they choose. Your hatred of them is misplaced. You don't hate them. You hate the fact that you fit in with them. You cut them off to prove to yourself that you don't fit anymore. We are at the halfway point. You understand the why. You understand the biology, the economics, and the psychology of the purge. You know now that you aren't crazy. You are calculating. But understanding the exit is only step one. Now comes the dangerous part, the part where most people fail. How do you survive the void? How do you rebuild a nervous system that is addicted to chaos? And most importantly, how do you ensure that when you finally open the door again, you don't just let the same demons back in wearing different faces? Because if you don't change your internal frequency, you will simply attract a new cast of actors for the same old tragedy. We are about to enter the reconstruction phase. This is where we turn the cut-off from a defensive move into an offensive strategy. You have cut the cord. The house is empty, the phone is silent, and now your hands are shaking. You feel an itch, a compulsion to check their social media, to ask a mutual friend how they are doing, to find a reason, any reason, to break the silence. This is not love, this is withdrawal. You need to understand that your brain is a junkie. For years it has been running on a cocktail of stress hormones provided by these toxic relationships. The drama, the unpredictability, the constant need to fix things. That was your dopamine source. It was dirty fuel, but it was fuel. Now that you have cut the supply, your brain is panicking. It is screaming, where is the crisis? Where is the conflict? I don't know how to function in peace. Peace feels boring to a nervous system wired for war. You will mistake this boredom for missing them. You will tell yourself, maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I'm just lonely. This is the most dangerous moment. If you go back now, you teach your brain that peace is impossible. You reinforce the neural pathway that says, I need chaos to feel alive. You must sit in the boredom. You must stare at the wall. You must let the silence crush you until your brain rewires itself to find safety in stillness rather than in noise. This is the detox. It hurts. It feels like dying. But it is the only way to reset your baseline. You are raising your standards for what constitutes excitement. A fight is not excitement. Anxiety is not passion. Uncertainty is not mystery. Those are just stress. And you are finally getting sober. Once the withdrawal passes, and it will pass, you will find yourself standing on a flat piece of land. The rubble is gone. The noise is gone. Now you build. But this time, you do not build a tavern with an open door where anyone can walk in, drink your wine, and break your glasses. You build a citadel. The psychology of the outlier is the psychology of the gatekeeper. You realize that access to your energy is a privilege, not a right. In your past life, you gave access to anyone who knocked. You thought being open was a virtue. You thought having walls was a trauma response. So you let in the energy vampires, the narcissists, the perpetual victims. You let them camp in your living room because you were afraid of being rude. Now, you understand the difference between a wall and a gate. A wall keeps everyone out of fear. A gate lets people in, but only after they have passed the inspection. You must write the code for your gate. What is the price of admission to your life? It is no longer shared history. It is no longer convenience. It is no longer, they need me. The new price is reciprocity. Does this person pour into you as much as they take? Do they regulate their own emotions, or do they expect you to do it for them? Do they clap when you win, or do they go silent? If they cannot pay this price, the gate stays closed. People will call you arrogant. They will say, you have changed. Good, you have changed. You have become expensive. And cheap people hate expensive things because it reminds them of what they cannot afford. As you build this citadel, a strange thing will happen. New people will appear. They will seem different. They will seem nice. They will seem interested in the new you. Be careful. The universe has a dark sense of humor. It will send you tests disguised as opportunities. It will send you a person who looks like a king or a queen, but who carries the same virus as the people you just cut off. They will test your boundaries. They will make a small, disrespectful joke to see if you laugh. They will flake on a plan to see if you tolerate it. They will trauma dump on the first date to see if you pick up the bucket. In the past, you would have made excuses for them. Oh, they're just having a bad day. Oh, I shouldn't be so rigid. This time, you watch. You observe. The moment you smell the old pattern, the inconsistency, the entitlement, the subtle neg, you do not explain. You do not try to fix them. You cut the cord immediately. This is the sniper phase of your social life. You are not spraying bullets hoping to hit a friend. You are waiting, watching, and selecting with extreme precision. You would rather spend a year alone in your citadel than 1 hour with a Trojan horse who will burn it down from the inside. This ruthlessness is not cruelty. It is self-respect. You finally value your peace too much to gamble it on potential. And then, one day, you wake up and the silence doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels electric. You make a coffee, you sit by the window, you have no plans, you have no one to answer to, no one is demanding your attention, no one is waiting for you to save them. And you feel a surge of power that you have never felt before. This is the sovereignty. You realize that you are not alone. You are autonomous. You have reclaimed the energy that used to leak out of you in 1,000 different directions. You have plugged the holes in the bucket. And now, the water is rising. You have time to think. You have time to read. You have time to build your body and your empire. You realize that the loneliness you feared was actually just the absence of distraction. And without distraction, you are forced to become great. This is why the greats, the artists, the philosophers, the leaders, always spent time in the wilderness. They had to cut the cord to the collective noise to hear the signal of their own genius. You are in your wilderness era. You are learning to enjoy your own company. You are becoming your own best friend, your own counselor, your own strategist. And here is the paradox. The more comfortable you become with being alone, the more magnetic you become to others. When you don't need people, people want you. They sense your self-sufficiency. It intrigues them. You are no longer grasping at them with the sweaty hands of desperation. You are standing still, like a mountain, and people love to climb mountains. But this time, when they will come with respect. They will come knowing that you are whole without them. They will come to add to your life, not to complete it. You might worry that you will be alone forever, that you have cut too deep. Look at a rose bush in winter. The gardener cuts it back until it looks like a collection of dead sticks. To the untrained eye, it looks like he has killed it. He has removed the blooms, the leaves, the branches. He has cut everyone off. But the gardener knows something the observer doesn't. He knows that you cannot have new growth on old wood. He knows that if he leaves the dead branches, they will suck the nutrients from the roots and the bush will never bloom again. He cuts it back to concentrate the life force. You are in your winter. You have pruned your life down to the roots. It looks barren. It looks severe. But deep underground in the dark, the roots are gathering strength. The sap is concentrating. You are preparing for a spring that the people who left you cannot even imagine. You cut everyone off not because you hate them, but because you love the version of yourself that is trying to be born. And that version needs space. It needs resources. It needs the sun. You could not grow in their shadow. So you moved. Do not apologize for the pruning. Do not mourn the dead branches. Let them lie on the ground. Let them return to the earth. You focus on the root, because when you finally bloom, and you will bloom, it will be with a ferocity and a color that you never could have achieved while you were trying to keep everyone else happy. You will look back at this time, this quiet, painful, lonely time, and you will not see it as the time you lost your friends. You will see it as the time you found yourself. The silence is not a punishment. It is a preparation. The void is not the end. It is the womb. You are not alone. You are simply unobserved. And in the dark, you are becoming something that the light is not yet ready to see. Wait for it. Build in it. And when you are ready, open the gate. But only for those who know the password. If this opened your eyes, understand this is only what I can show publicly. There are videos I cannot upload for everyone. There are aspects of dark psychology that I simply cannot discuss publicly on YouTube without being censored or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most powerful information. Those exist behind the join button. If you're still here, you're not like the others. Subscribe if you haven't. But if you want what's hidden, click the join button and step into the architect level. You will unlock exclusive, uncensored videos that dive into the deepest parts of the human psyche. Most won't. That's the point.